Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and you know what, I'm starting to get a little concerned about No More Heroes 3. Not because I think the game isn't going to be good or there's going to be trouble in development. From everything that we've heard from Suda51, that the game is going by well and it's going to be ready for 2020. However, there's a reason why No More Heroes hasn't been around as much. There's a reason why we haven't seen No More Heroes games remastered. There's a reason why this franchise hasn't been just out there more, despite being a very good video game franchise. The sales, and in particular No More Heroes 2, were not necessarily the best. And when you look at the current landscape of gaming and how games get promoted, and especially games that aren't on that super high tier like a Mario or Zelda, you definitely want to make sure that people know about your game in this modern age. And honestly, No More Heroes 3 is the type of game that everyone needs to be talking about if you're a Nintendo Switch fan, and a game that definitely needs people to be convinced into getting, or people to kind of let people know, to shed light on the series, because it's not a super old series, but then again, at the same time, it's more of a niche type of series with Travis Touchdown, because a lot of people didn't play No More Heroes 1 and 2. Heck, when they re-released the game on the PlayStation 3, literally nobody bought that game, and they're like, alright, No More Heroes can take a break for a while. Now, we did have Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes, but that wasn't the normal mainline style of games in terms of the perspective. A lot of the combat and the ideas, some of the stuff was lifted from the series, but it wasn't the normal No More Heroes. And No More Heroes 3 is returning to that behind the back, third person action style of gameplay from No More Heroes 1 and 2. But once again, Travis Touchdown No More Heroes is not a major franchise that people know about. And while I'm very excited to play the game and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do, however, there's this crazy Japanese company that's involved with this game that, in my opinion, can ruin the chances of this game having the success, the major success that it deserves, that I think that it will deserve based on what Suda has done in the past with gameplay, No More Heroes 1 and also No More Heroes 2, and that is Marvelous. Now, what I did is that I went over to the official Nintendo.com page for No More Heroes 3, and I wanted to make sure that I went over everything with a fine-tooth comb in order to find out exactly what's going on here. Is Marvelous publishing this game? Is Marvelous helping out with distribution? What's going on here with Marvelous and No More Heroes 3? Because Marvelous is a company that I honestly can't stand at this point. They are on some type of crazy power trip with false claiming and false flagging on YouTube for various different things. Stuff that they don't even own, like Control, for example, which was published by 505 Games and Remedy owns the IP, but since they published the game in Japan, they started claiming English trailers that they didn't even work on, at all for the game Control on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the PC. And what we've seen from Marvelous is that they've taken their false copyright claims and they're claiming on YouTube to pretty much the next level on here, going from straight just trailers to claiming gameplay and anything when it comes down to it. And No More Heroes could fall victim to this crazy Japanese company that is Marvelous. Now, I want to make sure that I'm very clear with this, guys, because there is Marvelous Japan and then there's Marvelous Europe, and Marvelous Europe isn't involved with some of the stuff that Marvelous Japan does when it comes to publishing. Now, the excuse that's given on Twitter, which it's a good excuse, obviously, if they're not involved with it, Marvelous EU or Marvelous Europe was not involved with the craziness that was going on with Daemon X Machina. So they weren't involved in marketing Daemon X Machina or any of the claims or anything like that. They're not involved. So I want to make sure that there is a separation between them, because some of you guys might go on Twitter or whatever the case is and start talking or tagging Marvelous Europe. And that's not the case here, guys. There is a Marvelous Japanese Twitter page, but they don't respond to anybody in English. Obviously, they don't, and they don't care in terms of people that even respond to them in Japanese with some of these concerns. They don't care, and they don't respond back either. So I went over the official page on Nintendo.com just so I can check out what's going on here. So let's go ahead and go over everything from the very beginning here. There's the game info. And the last screenshot on the page, you can see from the trailer that they had at E3, the Marvelous and the cherries and everything, and Grasshopper Manufacturer. Now, moving down, here's what it says. It says the latest numbered entry in the No More Heroes series. No More Heroes 3 is coming in 2020. Travis Touchdown returns to San and Destroy after a 10-year absence. There, he finds a huge artificial island metropolis floating in the sea and a mysterious flying object hovering high above. What kind of crazy, dangerous assassins will Travis face off against this time? Platform Nintendo Switch, release date is still 2020. Number of players to be determined, so maybe they have some type of local multiplayer mode or something like that. The category is action. The publisher is Grasshopper Manufacturer. The developer is Grasshopper Manufacturer. So apparently Grasshopper is going to be self-publishing this title, but it definitely seems like there's funding coming from somewhere, and I think that's where Marvelous and also Nintendo kind of come into play. There's no way that Grasshopper Manufacturer pretty much could have paid for everything for this game. Distribution, something in terms of development, the funding has to come from somewhere else as well, because Grasshopper Manufacturer, last time that we were looking through their financial records, it seems like things aren't going too hot for them. It seems a little bit weird in terms of their collaboration with Gung Ho and kind of what's going on there, because they were purchased by Gung Ho, but it doesn't seem like Gung Ho's helping out with this at all. And I guess that's where Marvelous kind of comes into play. And Marvelous originally helped out with the No More Heroes franchise, but that's where I'm kind of worried, and that's where things get a bit dicey for me when it comes to this game in this current modern age, because this isn't Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. This isn't a smaller side type of game. This is the next major one. And if you have this bum company of Marvelous Japan false flagging, false copyright claiming, doing all this stuff, I think it's really going to stunt the growth of No More Heroes, a franchise that I've played and beat every single game. No More Heroes 1, No More Heroes 2, I played those games back in the day. They were phenomenal. They have their faults here and there, but they're crazy. They're a lot of good fun. If you like the B type of movie silliness, No More Heroes got that. It has like some of the anime aesthetics and some of the stuff from there, and it has a really likable and funny main character with Travis Touchdown. And to see what's going to potentially happen with Marvelous stunting this franchise's growth or stunting fair use in terms of what people can talk about is a bit horrifying when it comes down to a franchise like No More Heroes that I have a lot of love for. So here's what I'm hoping to happen with all this when it comes to Marvelous and Nintendo and Grasshopper Manufacturer. I'm hoping that Grasshopper Manufacturer, which Suda is always down for promotion of his games. He loves content creators who promote his games. He loves the fans. I'm hoping that Suda gets involved and he makes sure that this game is properly talked about and distributed when it comes to people discussing things normally, because Suda's always down for interviews. Suda's always down for people to play his games or for them to stream them. Even back in the day, he loved it when people would interview him or talk to him about Travis Touchdown or No More Heroes. So when it comes to the developers of these games, they want as much promotion, they want as much limelight and spotlight to be put on their game as possible, because that's what smart people want in order for their game to do better, in order for the franchise to continue. Suda wants Travis Touchdown in Super Smash Brothers. Well, if you want Travis Touchdown in Super Smash Brothers, if you want people to know your franchise, you need to allow people who are professionals in this field to talk about it normally within a fair use sense. So I'm hoping that Grasshopper Manufacturer and Nintendo kind of team up to say, all right, stand down, Marvelous, because honestly, the way that it's going right now with Control and Daemon X Machina and some of the other stuff, even dating back years, Marvelous has been being really weird and unfair when it comes to abusing YouTube's copyright system for their own financial gain. I mean, like, Marvelous has been doing this for a while now. This didn't just start up recently. I've just had this crazy anime arc with Marvelous Japan when it comes down to fair use and what's going on here. So I'm hoping that, heck, even this video, I'm going to test out No More Heroes 3 footage, and oh my gosh, if they're going to start claiming this one as well, Marvelous just needs to be put in their place. Nintendo and Grasshopper needs to stand up to this and say, hey, this game needs to be a success. We need more people talking about it. We need more people covering it. We need more people recommending it. And that's what's going to make this franchise get bigger and better in today's day when it comes to marketing and promotion with video games, where YouTube's a big thing to help out if you want to see the continued success of your franchise and if you want to see more people getting into it, especially with the crowded lineups that we get today pretty much on all platforms. There are so many games and there's just not enough time to play everything, so developers want people talking about their games 24/7, and Marvelous is somehow, some way, shape, or form doing their best to make sure people aren't doing that when it comes to games. So those are my thoughts when it comes to this. I'm hoping that this crazy Japanese company, Marvelous, does not ruin what No More Heroes could be, but we're gonna have to wait and see on that one. So what are you guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for this RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.